So Moses prays and he says, God, forgive them, forgive them. And then you know what Moses prayed? He said, God, show me your glory. Show me your glory. That's the context for this, because here's what God said. I'm going to pass before you and show you my goodness. I'm going to let my goodness pass before you and proclaim to you my name. And then Exodus 33:19 is when he says, I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy. That's God's name. I'm going to let my goodness pass before you and proclaim to you my name. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy. That's God's name. He says, in other words, my glory is expressed in my name. My name is expressed in my complete, absolute freedom to do whatever I do. My glory is expressed in my freedom to give mercy to whom I give mercy. If you go back to Exodus 3, Moses is in the wilderness guarding his father-in-law's sheep, and God calls him to go to Egypt. And as he's at the burning bush, if you remember, Moses said, God, tell me your name, because the name is who you were in that call. Tell me your name so that I can tell them who sent me. So what did God say? Moses, you tell them, I am who I am sent you. I am who I am, Exodus 3. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, Exodus 33:19. Same structure, he just defines it more and brings more life to it in Exodus 33. And his point is, I'm absolute. I have no cause. I have no cause. I have no constraint. My glory is in my name, and my name is that I am completely free and I'm completely sovereign. That's my glory, Moses. That's my glory. That's why Moses is quoting this verse right here at this time to these people. He says, I know you're questioning God's fairness. What you need to understand is God's not obliged to give salvation to anyone. You see, questioning God's fairness, anytime you question fairness, then you're presuming that you have rights that are being violated. That's what makes something unfair, right? If you have a right that's being violated, it's not fair. Your kids scream that all the time, right? It's not fair. It's not fair. Sometimes it's just silly because they're not getting what they want. And sometimes maybe something isn't fair. That's when I tell my kids, life ain't fair. Grow up, right? But it's not fair means you got some rights that are being violated. Well, if we scream that it's not fair for God to not save some people and save others, then we would say, well, they must have rights that are being violated. And what we got to understand is nobody has a right to be saved because of sin. Because we've rejected God. You see, the issue is we've rejected God. So God's not obliged to save anyone. He has no obligation. We've rejected Him. We are sinners, and that sin separates us from Him. And that's why people go to hell, not because God didn't choose them to go to hell, because they rejected God. You see, and so when we start thinking about fairness, here's what we got to do. Our natural response is to say, is it fair? Okay, if election means that God chose some before the world was created, God chose some to be His, not based on merit or effort, which would make it all grace. That wouldn't be fair for those who He don't choose. That's presuming they have rights. That's presuming that they deserve salvation. No one does, not even me, not you, right? And that would make it, to be quite honest with you, if it was your choice, if it was man's choice, that's what would be unfair. I present to you that if you want to talk about fairness, you don't want fairness, because if we got what was fair, we'd all burn, right? I mean, if you agree with that, we got what's fair. If you don't agree with that, then you have a basic authority issue with God. That if we got what's fair, we'd all burn. We would all be damned because we've all rejected God. So we don't want what's fair.